Welcome back to our podcast, everyone. Today we're diving into the political drama around the administration's plan to get the Epstein files out.
Oh, right, the discussion where Senator Schumer insists it's not a stunt, but a serious push to make the Department of Justice release those files?
Exactly. At a Senate Democratic press briefing, Schumer laid out his plan to invoke a rule, basically forcing the DOJ to give up these contested Epstein files. It's a bold move that stirred up a lot of conversations.
And it's very much in the spotlight given the sensitive nature of Epstein's case. Now, what do you think is behind his insistence that it's not a stunt?
Well, Schumer appears to be framing this move as a matter of accountability, not just a political show. He's saying, this isn't just theatrics for the cameras. There's a real drive to bring transparency to a case that's been shrouded in mystery for too long.
Yeah, that transparency angle is interesting. It makes me wonder, could his insistence also be an effort to sidestep criticism from opponents who might argue it's all theatrics?
Absolutely. He's clearly aware that the optics are huge. On one hand, releasing the files could propel a narrative of accountability and reform. On the other hand, it could be seen as a political maneuver in an election season. It's like he's saying, look, I'm not here to put on a show, but these records need to be seen.
Interesting. So, the arguments are both legal and political. What are the legal implications, though? I mean, invoking a rule seems pretty technical.
Yeah, it is. Essentially, Schumer is like leveraging Senate rules that force the DOJ to disclose records that are, under public records law, supposed to be accessible.
Right.
The strategy is to remove the layers that have kept these files closed off, and, it ties into wider debates about government transparency.
And as Forbes Breaking News points out, this isn't just a regular press briefing. The platform itself, with its massive reach, is amplifying the political significance of this move.
Exactly. Forbes isn't known for fluff. They bring out the hard-hitting news, and the fact that they're covering it adds credibility to the seriousness of the issue. The audience gets a glimpse into the inner workings of Senate actions that aren't typically headline grabbers.
That's true. I also noticed that this video has been getting a lot of views, 24,598, as noted by the recent data. It clearly resonates with people who are hungry for more details about controversial cases like Epstein's.
Right. And it's not just about numbers. It's about the message conveyed. Schumer's message is layered. He's promising if these files come out, we might finally see a piece of the puzzle in a case that has long been mired in secrecy.
While I get the push for transparency, I have to wonder, could making these files public compromise certain sensitive information or jeopardize ongoing investigations?
That's a fair point. Some critics argue that a sudden release might create risks for privacy or even national security concerns if certain details are too explosive. But Schumer seems to be banking on the idea that the benefits in accountability outweigh these risks.
Right, and that's where the balance gets tricky. On one hand, you have the ethical imperative to know what's been happening behind closed doors. On the other, you risk stirring up more controversy without proper safeguards.
Exactly. It's like trying to walk a tightrope in a political circus.
Yeah,
Schumer is probably aware that every move he makes could spark a huge backlash, either from supporters who demand accountability or from detractors warning of unintended consequences.
so practically speaking, what do you think will happen next? Will the DOJ actually be forced to release these documents?
It's hard to say. The legal process isn't linear. There might be appeals or delays, and the DOJ could push back, citing confidentiality concerns. Yet, if Schumer's pressure is high, it forces a debate that might just lead to a partial release of the files. I see it as a battle of wills between political accountability and bureaucratic caution.
That's a vivid picture, like a chess match with very high stakes. But don't you think there's also a chance that once the files are out, they could become a political rallying cry more than a tool for justice?
Possibly, yes. Once you publicize such documents, interpretations can vary wildly. It might ignite more investigations, or contrarily, be spun as evidence of partisan bias. It's like opening a Pandora's box of political narratives.
And this scenario could very well inspire new strategies for handling classified or confidential records in the future. A kind of precedent setting, right?
Precisely. This isn't just about one case. It's about establishing the extent of governmental transparency and oversight. If, say, a future administration feels judged by what gets released now, the entire legal process might shift.
Yeah, which, in turn, might affect how other politically charged cases are handled down the line. Man, it's like a domino effect of accountability.
Absolutely. And considering the timing, given that the video is already drawing significant attention with tens of thousands of views, it seems that this issue is only going to grow in both political and public discourse.
Yep, one thing is for sure: the intersection of law, politics, and media never ceases to amaze. But let me ask you, do you see any potential pitfalls in how Schumer is framing this?
Well, interestingly enough, some suggest that his framing might in fact oversimplify the complexity of the legal process. It's like he's putting a very strong emphasis on accountability without fully addressing the nuanced challenges of balancing transparency with national security concerns.
That's a good challenge. Because while exposing these files might seem like a victory for transparency, it might inadvertently feed into narratives that are overly simplistic or ideologically driven.
Exactly. And there's always the risk that political opponents will seize on any perceived missteps. If the DOJ does release the documents and key details are redacted, critics could argue that the maneuver was more politically motivated than genuinely about justice.
Yeah, so, in a way, Schumer is walking a fine line. One misstep and his message could be completely undermined by the very scrutiny he wishes to overcome.
That's right. It's all about how the narrative unfolds. The move, while bold, depends on a series of checks and balances within our legal and political systems. Each actor, from the DOJ to the media, plays a critical part.
Yeah, and let's not forget the public's role. With so much happening online and on social media, any new release of sensitive material is likely to spark debates that could become even more polarized.
True, it's like setting off fireworks in a crowded field. You get beauty and chaos all at once. And this isn't a one-off event. It's part of a larger pattern of political maneuvers in today's climate.
You know, I appreciate how you've broken it down. Although I still wonder if all this might backfire on him politically, if the DOJ finds a valid reason to delay or release redacted files only.
That's a fair critique. And if that scenario unfolds, Schumer might be forced into a defensive position where his claims of transparency for justice might be seen as politically calculated.
Right. It really will be interesting to follow how this plays out in the coming months, especially as public pressure and media scrutiny only intensify.
Absolutely. The conversation isn't just about a single document release, it's about setting precedents and defining how transparency is enforced in our political system. Every move is bound to have repercussions for future cases.
Yep, and of course for the public's trust in our institutions. This topic really encapsulates how one political decision can echo across so many facets of governance.
Exactly. It's like when you open up a sealed box from the past, you never truly know if you're going to see a breakthrough or a further deepening of controversy.
Well said. That sealed box of Epstein files could indeed redefine discussions on accountability versus political theater. I, for one, am eager to see how this narrative evolves.
Me too. And as always, we'll be here to unpack every twist and turn. Thanks for listening, everyone. Stay tuned for more insightful discussions.